All right. So, Jobless Reincarnation. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, actually. So, for those who don't know, this anime is the first anime for the studio behind it, which is Studio Bind. Studio Bind has done like assistant projects, so they've helped people with certain episodes of certain animes. I tried to look for the list of those animes, but it's pretty hard to find that. Um, but since it's their first anime, I was really curious to see how they were going to do on this. And they did a really good job in a lot of ways. So, first off, animation wise, the animation was really good, especially what I really liked is when they showed parts of when he was in Japan. It was it was more realistic styling. And then his reincarnation had a completely different animation style, and I really like that. It makes it really easy for them also to depict which point they're going towards if they ever do any flashbacks of him at all. You can easily determine it just with that. Though it should be obvious otherwise in other ways, but that's beside the point. The animation was really good though. However, there were some moments where the animation was a little weird. One instance is when when the family meets Roxy for the first time. There's a point where Rudy, his face, like from his like forehead down to the middle of his chin, is just like a hard line, and everything else is just like there's no hard line around anyone else. So it's really kind of weird, and they usually have this like grainy effect on a lot of their clothing and stuff. And sometimes their faces don't always have that, and so sometimes in the close-ups it doesn't quite look right. I do like the grainy effect on the clothes, just sometimes it doesn't. It's just a bit too much grain effect, and their faces are just too clean, and it just looks wrong. And then CGI wise, I really like the CGI usage with the magic and their switch between 2D and 3D animation with the magic. That was really cool, and really well done. Though there wasn't one instance I did notice where the CGI was really bad. So when Roxy was getting dropped off by the carriage, if you look at the carriage driver, he's like terribly created, and the horses are moving weird, and it just doesn't look good there. Like everything else around it looks fine. It's just that CGI right there just doesn't look too well. But there's some moments where the animation just really impressed me. For instance, when Roxy was fixing the tree, the animation was just, oh my gosh, that was some beautiful animation. I loved that. So good. As far as story wise goes, not a whole lot happened in episode 1, and it's kind of weird to say that because when I was watching it, it felt like a lot had happened. The pacing was really well done, and it probably also helped because rewatching it, I noticed that there weren't a lot of still frames they had, and even if they had still frames, they still had people like shifting weight and blinking a lot of times, and it made it feel a lot more alive, I guess. On top of that, with some of the or on top of that, with the story, because of their pacing and everything, halfway through, I thought that the episode was close to being done because it just felt like so much had happened already. And so, like when I moused over and saw that was still half left, I'm like, oh, okay, still have half an episode. Still got like 15 or 10 minutes left. So that was really good. One thing I forgot to mention with animation, and is with some of the movements they did. Is mainly with Roxy that I noticed it. When she'd move, she would do a lot of extra animation that most animes don't really put in her movements. Like when she was standing, they put a lot more animation in some of the movements of standing up, and it just felt a lot more real, a lot more realistic in that regard. As far as voice acting goes, mainly just going to talk about the main voice actor. All the voice acting was really good. There's no one who really sounded bad. The voices sounded really good for the characters. Sometimes you have it where the voice actor may be good, but the voice just doesn't fit with the character very well. But all the voices seem to fit really well. And then Rudy actually has two voice actors. Not like that's too surprising. But you have his reincarnated self and his past self. So his past self, I'm probably going to butcher these names, but it's Tomokazu oh my gosh, Sugita? Can't even say that. Whatever. Anyway, he did a really good job. A lot of his pauses and everything with his anime. I'm not a voice acting person. I don't know exactly how voice acting goes. But as from an audience perspective, it sounded really good. It was hilarious. His tone shifts and stuff made a lot of good emphasis when it was needed or just for entertainment purposes. And going into his list of voice acting, he has been voice acting for like 15 plus years. And like, to put an instance, he voiced acted, I can't remember the character, I didn't write it down because I think it was more of a minor character, and I also haven't seen it all the way through, so I didn't know how important this character actually was, but he was voicing an Inuyasha, so kind of dates him a little bit. But he has a lot of recent animes as well, and it's just a massive list. But for an example of some of them, he's done Kirishima from Assassination Classroom. That's the assassin teacher dude. Gintoki from, I think that's how you say it. I've never seen it. It's from Gintama. I've seen clips of it, and the voice acting for that is always good. And then he does Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. That one was a little surprising because the voice does not sound quite the same. But yeah, there's that. And then the Reincarnated Self. I can't really grade the voice acting very much because the majority of the episode was Rudy as a child, and so not a lot of lines were said. So there wasn't a whole lot of things to go off of on that regard. But it's done by Yumi Uchiyama, and she has also some interesting people she's done. So if you've watched Gate, she's Bozis. I don't know how you say it. They say it really weird, and it's hard to hear in the Japanese in the show. But that's the blonde knight girl with the what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. The swirly pigtail things. I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, she's also done Puck from ReZero and Mare from Overlord. So she has some good potential there for some solid voice acting. Music-wise, the music was nice, but nothing really stood out too much to me. What did stand out, though, is their use of the music. So the instances that they had music playing and not playing, and when they bring music in, felt really good. If it helped the moment in any given instance. I think one instance, I can remember off the top of my head, is when he was first using magic. They had that. So yeah, there's some good music there, good uses of music there. They didn't have an intro or ending. However, they did have credits with an ending with a song at the end. I couldn't quite tell. It sounded like they could use it depending on how they cut it. They could use it for an opening or ending. So I'm wondering if they're going to do an opening or ending, and if that's going to be one of the songs. If it is, I am going to assume it is. That song was right up my alley for a good ED or OP with some solid animation around it. It would be really good. Overall impressions, I really enjoyed it. I think if they continue this quality of animation, especially if they can improve it, it definitely has a shot for Anime of the Year. If they can keep up that pacing, the storytelling way they're doing it, their uses of music, especially if they can get some good music. What I'm looking forward to is seeing how they handle the action scenes. Since it's an action-adventure fantasy, so there should be some really interesting uses. They've already shown that they can do camera angles and things like that, so hopefully the fight scenes can end up being really good. I think that's pretty much it I can think of. Can't wait to continue going on with this anime. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I am uploading another episode of this Jobless Reincarnation or any other anime. Thanks for watching. Bye.